So this video today is about maps, and not the kind you use when you put your eye patch on and go searching for buried treasure. This is an acronym that stands for Minor Attracted Persons. Basically just pedophiles trying to put sparkles and stuff around the word to make it seem less villainous, but you can't make being sexually attracted to children less horrible than it already is. I mean, you can change the words, but you're still a horrible person. And yes, I know I'm many months behind on covering this whole maps topic on Twitter, and internet time works much like dog years, and that one internet year is basically equal to a couple millennia, because at that point, no one really cares anymore. It's like a distant memory, a far off whiff of a fart that you can't even smell anymore, you know? It's not even irrelevant at that point. It's just mostly forgotten. But there is a reason that I'm so late on this topic as well as the zoophile topic, and it's that I hate Twitter. I absolutely despise Twitter, but maybe I should start being more active and keep up to date, keep up with the Kardashians on Twitter and whatnot. But once again, it is situations like this and the zoophile thing that make me fearful of Twitter in the first place. It's just, Twitter's like the bottom of a porta potty. It's truly rancid and disgusting. But I guess if I want to get used to making videos in a timely manner, I'm just going to have to start swimming in the sewage and keep my mouth shut. So back to the whole map community thing. They're minor attracted persons, but I'm just going to call them pedophiles for the rest of this video because that's what they are. They're still attracted to children. It's not like changing their name actually changed their personality so they no longer desire children or anything. They're still predatory towards children, and they want to have sexual relationships with children. And this is one of the tweets, one of the first things I seen on Twitter, my introduction to the map community, the map world, I guess. Me and my girlfriend, who's a non-map but ally, have once discussed that an age of consent of 8 would be good, with a mandatory sex and consent education from age 6 onwards at school, and we both ended up agreeing that's how you can create understanding of consent. So first off, there is so many things wrong with that. 8 years old, that's horrible. So just from that first tweet alone, obviously there's so many things wrong with this. And also, by the way, that profile picture, I believe that is the flag of the map community. They have their own flag. They're trying to tie themselves to the LGBT community, and the LGBT community is swatting them off like they're a gnat in their ear, like they're a fly buzzing around their head, saying, "No, get away. You're weird. You're disgusting. We do not want you." And they're like, "Oh, please, let us latch on. Let us latch on. Let us be normalized." But nobody wants to normalize pedophiles because it's horrible. Nobody wants to normalize them except for the people who aren't normal to begin with. And they say they want to start teaching consent education at the age of 6 onwards in school. And I looked up the age of kindergarten, it's 5 years old. So they want to start teaching you about consent and sex in first grade. In first grade, I was shoving pencils up my nose and pulling off the erasers off of pencils and eating the erasers. I had the farthest off idea of what sex and being attracted to another human was like. And they're wanting to teach consent to where they can be with fully grown adults at first grade age. In first grade, I was still pooping my pants in class and then going to the bathroom, taking my underwear off, and hiding them in the garbage can. That's what I was doing in first grade. I don't know what they think these kids are doing. I guess they think the first graders are matured enough to have actual relationships, consensual relationships, which they're not. They're definitely not. Not even 8-year-olds. No. Right around 18 is where the age of consent should stay. I know it's a little bit lower in a couple states, like 16, 17, but it's usually around 17 to 18 is the age of consent, and that's probably where it should stay, because even then, at that age, you're not fully developed, in your brain and whatnot. I think your brain doesn't even fully develop until, in your 20s, maybe your mid-20s. And then this person responds and says, "I can see that, especially pushing schools to teach actual sex education, not even just for this subject, but in general. I feel 8 is kind of low, though, and although it's essentially out of my..." What does AOA mean? I forget what AOA means. Oh, shoot, I wrote this down. Age of attraction. It means age of attraction. And although it's essentially out of my age of attraction, I feel that 13 would be a better choice. 13 would not be a better choice for age of consent. Maybe for starting to teach some sexual education. Maybe that's right at the lowest point you should start teaching them. But still, that's maybe kind of pushing it. But regardless, this is the next one here. My preferred age of consent would be around 4? I hadn't read this full tweet thread before I started recording this video. I'd only read like the first little paragraph because I wanted to have an actual reaction. And that, I have a very visceral gut-wrenching reaction to that. He wants the age of consent to be around 4. A 4-year-old isn't even in school. A 4-year-old has just learned to walk and talk. And I'm not even going to get into that. Everyone knows that's wrong. There's no way anybody actually supports that. Hers would be 12, so his girlfriend's age of consent would be 12, and she's also a very weird person for being with a guy like this, so obviously she's, not far off. So we met in the middle and said 8. So I think it should be 4. My girlfriend thinks it should be 12. Therefore, we should make the rule at 8, because us two weirdos that are very off the deep end and probably on copious amounts of drugs, we think the age of consent should be 4 and 12, so we met in the middle, said 8. Congress, go ahead and take that bill up to Capitol Hill, and we'll be looking forward to the new age of consent. I don't understand this, dude. I don't understand this. Making me slur my words. I'm so mad. I just think an age of consent shouldn't exist at all, but babies and toddlers can't consent. At school, they can learn about sexuality and consent and form an opinion. No. Sure, a 4-year-old could technically consent, but they don't know what they're doing. I don't even think I have memories from being 4 years old. I don't think I was even aware that I existed at 4 years old. I don't think I actually realized I existed until probably middle school when I was around 12, maybe 13. I realized that, yeah, other people also have lives, and it's not just my life. I'm not the main character. This tweet is just one of many examples of people in the map prod community trying to make people normalize pedophilia. They're trying to change the name to stuff like map to make it seem less villainous. Like I mentioned in the beginning, sorry I burped there. I couldn't keep it in. The burps are coming up because the vomit's rising in my stomach. Anybody who is in the map community or a map ally, I have no respect for you. You are an absolute troglodyte in my eyes. I don't even look at you as a human being anymore, really. I just look at you as a waste of a human shell, a waste of consciousness, a waste of space who is breathing the same air that I could be breathing. You're just taking up air. But I digress. We have many more examples to look at. For example, this one here, this was posted by the New York Post and many other news outlets. There's a professor who says pedophiles should be called minor attracted persons, agrees to resign. So this was a big story. This happened not too long ago, I don't think. I think November-ish. Yeah, November 25th. It happened. There was a professor who was saying pedophiles should be called minor attracted persons. She was basically being an ally of the map community. And I believe there's a video, it's like a Zoom video or something, of this person saying pedophiles should be called minor attracted persons, basically because pedophile is demeaning and makes them look bad, which it should, because they are bad people, That's the whole point of having that term in the first place, is to make them look bad, like the bad, horrible people that they are. But they resigned and everything, which is good. That's a dub. Big Dubsky boys. We're getting them Fortnite dubs. And yeah, that's all I'm going to show for that situation. I just wanted to show this because, even professors are getting in on the action of the map community, which is wild. That's absolutely wacky. But I'm not going to show the video or anything. You can look it up if you want to look more into that. Let's go on to our next example here. For this next example here, we're on good old Quora. I never knew how to pronounce this website. Quora. I'm just going to say Q. We're on the Q website here, and they ask, why did the minor attracted person movement gain publicity recently? And we're not going to be looking at all these responses. We're not even going to really be answering this question. I just wanted to show you this post here by Anonymous that said some pretty stinky stuff. You're going to realize why they posted this anonymously here in a second. So they start off the whole thing by saying, as a minor attracted man, I haven't came out to my family yet, but I know people who dated minors, and I've been seeing a minor myself, staying in touch with her through social media. As long as you're not having sex, no laws have been broken. That is not true at all. There's the whole child pornography thing. If you exchange nudes between each other, that is also a crime that has been committed. That's a law that has been broken right there. I have family members who dated minors and waited until they were 18 to get married. That's insanely weird. I just haven't came out of the closet as a map. Well, you pretty much just did, You say you're a minor attracted man, but you're not a minor attracted person. So you're a pedophile, but you're saying you're not a pedophile. You're a pedophile, but you don't want to admit that you're a pedophile. That's basically what he's getting at. Then he goes on to say, basically, the LGBTQ community have had their turn. Now it's time for maps. See, this is the point of what I talked about earlier. They're trying to latch themselves on to the LGBTQ community, basically saying they're the same as them and trying to do the whole love is love argument, but no. Pedophilia does not go in with the LGBTQ community. For example, a gay couple, it's a man and a man, or woman and a woman, and they're both consenting adults. Key word there, adults. So there's nothing wrong with that at all. There is nothing wrong with that. However, it doesn't matter if it's a man and a little boy or a woman and a little boy or whatever. The genders can be whatever. If it's a man that is above the legal age of 18 or whatever, and then it's a child that is under the age of consent, like 12 or 13, that's illegal, and it's going to continue to be illegal. It's not just a taboo that is seen as wrong, but isn't wrong. It is wrong. It is so wrong. It is insanely wrong. Oh, and in case you did not realize, child marriage is legal. It's only taboo because of these bogus statutory laws that everyone has been force-fed government Big Brother pills. Oh, my recording cut off, but we was at the point where they said everyone has been force-fed government Big Brother pills to make you think that they know what's best for everyone, as if one size fits all, which it never does. So it seems like this person is a deep state conspiracy theorist on top of a pedophile, which makes sense, crazy on top of crazy. It usually adds up, A wacky conspiracy theorist also is a pedophile. Doesn't blow my mind. And then we're going to skip down a little bit because I don't want to read all this. He says, I've always hated Chris Hansen, and always because they're allowed to pose as underage girls and pretend to love older men and lure them into a legal stronghold for their self-fulfilling needs. After all the work, the best they could get was probation and short time in jail. The best they could achieve was a law. So he's basically saying he hates Chris Hansen because Chris Hansen is catching disgusting people and keeping them away from actual children who could be assaulted and actually traumatized for the rest of their life because they had an encounter with a pedophile. Which it's natural for a pedophile to hate their arch nemesis. It's like Batman not liking the Joker. Naturally, if you're a pedophile, you're gonna hate Chris Hansen. It's natural. And then after the whole Chris Hansen rant, he says they have gay pride parades. Well, one day you'll map pride parades. It's going to happen. Gay and lesbian used to be despised, and it was even illegal, but now people love them and parade them around on children's television shows with gay parents as if it's natural. I don't hate gay and lesbian, but don't act like two men can replace a mother and father. So that was a very homophobic comment right there. He says he don't hate them, but he don't like them either. It's quite the tough talk there from a man who likes children, don't you think? Boom, get roasted by a voiceover of me when I have the bubonic plague. He says that one day you'll have map pride parades. If we ever have map pride parades, that's the day the government has fell and that the aliens have struck on Washington and they're burning down the whole entire world, because there's no other way that would ever come to fruition. And then, he goes on to say that gay and lesbian used to be illegal. It was illegal to be gay, or you couldn't get married. And yes, it was, but also slavery was legal back in the day, and now it's illegal, which, that's a good thing, as well as the whole gay lesbian couples being allowed to marry. That's also legal now. And those are both good things. And the reason that pedophilia hasn't been legalized yet is because it's not going to be legalized, because it's not the same as those two things. Those things should have never been there in the first place. But this pedophilia thing, that's a good thing that's there. That's a great thing that you have laws keeping weirdos away from innocent children. And then the finishing line of what he believes to be his glorious speech, he imagines that there's people pumping their fists in the air going, "Woo, preach, brother, preach." He says, there's going to be attrition one day, and get ready for it. Don't be afraid of taking advantage of child marriage laws, F all the haters, and live free or die hard. Yeah, baby. Yeah, baby. That's got me pumped up, baby. Woo! I guess this weirdo here thought after he says basically take advantage of children and then live free or die hard, he thought everybody was just going to revolt, start an uprising, and just turn against the government to change this child consent law. Like, no. Everybody who read this definitely thinks you're a weirdo. Definitely thinks you're a weirdo. That's probably why there's only one upvote and 2.4k views, because everyone probably downvoted this. And now it's just natural progression at this point. For every bad thing that happens on Twitter, there's an anime profile picture account that is involved in that in some way, shape, or form. And this time it's a guy that's name is literally just a map 22. Their account has been suspended, by the way. They're no longer on Twitter, which that's good. That's good. Just the guy who has the misfortune of being attracted to kids. 22 by pedophile. No map age of attraction is 4+, so we got another weirdo attracted to under kindergarten age kids. Open-minded nerd with too much time on my hands. DMs open with a very android-looking smiley face. And then this right here is one of the tweets that they tweeted out. I feel like the map community is treated just like the LGBT plus community was in the past, but as society evolved, we came to accept LGBT plus more nowadays. Hopefully, it's just a matter of time before maps are accepted too. I had a bit of a brain freeze there. My mind stuttered for a second. I had a lag spike. So this is the same argument that Mr. Quora pedophile has, their anonymous pedophile. It's the same exact argument saying the LGBT community was shunned and shamed in the past. You know, people rubbed their fingers at them and said, you know, you're bad people. So they think that the map community now is just natural progression for them to get accepted, right? No. No, it's not. Because there are some horrible people out there. You know, there's some dumb people. You know, everyone can admit that. Twitter definitely is a breeding ground for some of those. But I think even those people know that pedophilia is wrong. And this map community, even people that are absolutely stupid would not support this. There's no way. And then here's another tweet here from Internet Police. It says, thanks to a fellow officer who went undercover, do not recommend this. We can now see this filth, just a map 22 in all his glory. This is also before they got suspended on Twitter. They said, hey, and then the person replied and said, sup. Always good to meet more people in the map community. Yeah, I see a lot of harsh people against us, and it kind of scares me. One of my earlier posts had 1,600 plus replies, haha, a lot of haters. So I take it you like little girls. What? So I take it little girls are your top just like me. Maybe, winky face. Good choice then, haha. I prefer 4+. 4 to 12 is nice. So I'm guessing from that comment there that he's been with 4 to 12-year-olds, which is disgusting to think about. Oh my god. I can just think of this greasy neckbeard Discord admin loser that has an anime profile picture on Twitter and supports pedophiles and is a pedophile. I can just imagine his greasy Dorito-filled Mountain Dew liters on the floor room and oh my god. I'm not going to finish that. I don't want to think about that anymore. That's horrible. It's disgusting. They say God created everybody equal, but from these people we've seen so far, clearly he didn't care too much about some people, or he didn't install the latest software update or something, because there's a couple screws loose in these people's heads. And now we're on to the next person that has a couple screws loose. It's another Twitter page with an anime profile picture. Leo the No Map. Hey, I'm Leo, and I'm 16, and I use he, him pronouns, trans guy, I don't know what that means. I'm a no map, age of attraction, boys 2 to 7, non-exclusive, I don't act on my attraction, I'm not a predator. So this person is a 16-year-old attracted to 2 to 7-year-olds. A 2-year-old is just learning how to walk. That's right around that age where they're learning, sorry, it's coming up again. They're just learning how to walk and talk, and this person, 16-year-old, is attracted to 2 to 7-year-old boys. But they claim that it's okay because they don't act on it and they're not a predator. How are you trying to be proud of this? It's not something to be proud of. That's something you need to seek counseling over, therapy, something. Just fix your brain. And these are the same type of people that say they don't act on their desires, but then they end up getting caught when they're 40 years old with like 4 terabytes of child porn on their hard drives. And then they get arrested for that, which, you know, golf clap it up every time the police find one of those people stashed up with a whole storage unit of hard drives full of CP. It's good when those guys get caught. It's always a good day. And this is going to be our last tweet, our last Twitter user that I'm looking at for the whole map community on Twitter today. There are many, many more. I believe there's probably about thousands more out there in the map community, which that is alarming in and of itself. The number of people that they have that are supporting each other in this community and trying to grow the community and normalize it disgusts me. It makes me lose sleep at night. It truly does. And this last one here is from Real Ryan Oxley. They say they're a map party leader, which it's a title that I don't know why they would want to be proud of that. They say, how is it that we can have a whole movement about the blacks, hashtag BLM, but we can't have a riot for maps? They're both equally important. No. Not at all. Not in the slightest. Not at all. And then they use the hashtags hashtag #MapProd, hashtag #MapPositivity. And if you want to see some real stinky, deplorable, horrible stuff, look through those hashtags. You'll find some horrible characters. But you'll also find some pretty hilarious memes when you look through the map stuff. I didn't show any of those in this video because I wanted to kind of just keep it on one track. I may show a couple at the end now. I thought of it in my head. It's a good idea. Maybe I'll show a couple map memes, clown on the pedophiles a little bit. But yeah, this guy's clearly delusional. They're not equal at all. I don't understand how he's trying to say that, I guess, the map community is just as oppressed as the black community when they're not in any way, shape, or form at all. Like, not even close. Like, what is this comparison? I just don't get it. Pedophiles and stuff are getting arrested because they deserve it, because they're trying to get into contact with children, or they do get into contact with children, and they do some horrible stuff. And then black people are just getting arrested for, no reason at all sometimes. And that's very different stories. That's like two different sides of the spectrum. That's just not even comparable, so it's not even worth really talking about. I forgot to mention, this is the flag right here. This is the #MapProd flag. They're trying to be brought into the LGBT community. Like I said, they're trying to include themselves to normalize it. And then I think it's funny how they replied with the One Piece meme here from the manga. That flag, shoot down. Or sorry, I read that backwards. Manga's right to left. Shoot down that flag.
I will pay you to kill yourself. I will.
Thanks, Handsome Jack. POV, you support #MapProd.
Want to see a magic trick? Good. Abracadabra.
Round of applause for the magician. So this is the last meme we're going to be looking at for the whole pedophile community here, from Peckneck. And this is also going to serve as my outro. Cope harder, pedophiles. Cope harder. For the pedo community here. It's bubonic plague Derek here to add in that EDP is also involved in this category as well, because he's attracted to minors. Whether it be for a cupcake or not, I just forgot to add him in. Bubonic plague Derek here to add in again. My throat is not feeling good right now.